There were a couple of stories in the press this week that brought home to me the message of friendship and love that Jesus speaks of today in the gospel. It's a message that is best understood when it is lived out in the lives of real people. This past week, a man with Down syndrome died. He was 56, and he was married to his sweetheart, who also had Down syndrome. When they first met, she would be the one to propose to him 25 years ago. But permitting such a marriage was unthinkable. They had to undergo a series of tests and evaluations. And fortunately, they came from families with 9 siblings each that were able to offer support to the husband and wife. And they loved one another. They were also friends in that they gave over their lives to one another. And they stayed committed until his death 25 years later. The other story that spoke to me of the love and friendship of Christ was shared by a Notre Dame student who provided a reflection about Jesus. A reflection that spoke about his voice and people following him when he called. She told of her going to Washington, D.C. and participating in a program where parents could drop off their children to play with other children. And a father brought his young son, who was blind and also had autism, hoping that being with other children and possibly even kicking a ball, that the son would have fun. However, the noise bothered the child so much that he isolated himself so as not to be impaired by the noise of all the other kids. When the playtime was over and the child's father came to the place where his son was, he simply spoke the son's voice. The son heard it, lit up, and ran towards his father, and they embraced one another. When Jesus speaks to us today in the gospel and tells us that he loves us, think of those 2 stories that I just related to you. When Jesus tells us today that he calls us his friends, think of those 2 stories today to understand what he is telling us about friendship. It was clear, for me at least, from the story of the Down syndrome couple, that they had laid down their lives for one another. It was clear from me that what took place when the blind child, heard his father's voice, that a bond of friendship between the 2 existed. Friendship rooted in love. Friendship and love cemented the union of that Down syndrome and his wife. Friendship and love cemented the union of that father and his son. Friendship and love of Jesus Christ can cement the union of all family members, one with the other.